What's up, you guys? Yes, I'm in the awful habit of starting my vlogs at nighttime so that the first impression you have of me is gross and damp. But welcome to a new vlog. But my dad just waddled into my room and handed me 2 packages that I just gotten. So I'm not quite sure what these are. I think they're from publishers. I requested some books from some publishers, like advanced copies, and then like recently came out books. It's been a while since I've done that. I usually don't reach out because I'm just like, I might as well read it when it comes out because I'm really behind on reading anyway, so I don't want to request an early copy and then not be able to review it in time. So I usually don't really mess with that, but I actually got 2 responses saying that they would send me the books. I don't know if these are those or other books that I forgot that I ordered or other companies. We'll find out. So we're gonna start off with an unboxing and then I'll get into the book that I started that I'm currently reading for Black History Month. Yay! This company didn't reply whenever I asked for this, so I'm ecstatic. So I got an arc of Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. So basically this is about a girl and a guy. Can you tell? The girl has had a crush on this guy since she was a teenager, but then he ended up doing something that made them distanced and really hurt her feelings. But skip several years, he ends up becoming the guardian for his 13-year-old sister. So he reaches out and is asking for like advice on how to handle this new situation. So they start meeting up again and they have like their little milkshake dates. And this author has a book that I always get recommended in like the Amazon recommendations whenever I'm browsing the romance section. So I just really wanted to give this one a try. So thank you so much Forever Publishing for sending this my way. Now I have a thickie package. This is from Simon & Schuster. I wonder if they sent me books too and didn't reply. Wait, I always expect that companies are gonna say no or they're not gonna reply. So like, okay, wait, what's in this? This is a big package. I think I requested a couple from these, not expecting that all of them would be sent. Oh my gosh, there's 4 books. Wait, what did I get? Yay! What? This is a finished copy? These are all from Gallery Books. Wait, this is Christina Lauren's publisher. Okay. Okay. I requested a couple books from Gallery Books, which is one of my favorite publishing companies because they do all Christina Lauren. The first one that I asked for and they sent me a finished copy of is The Accidental Beauty Queen. So this is about an elementary school librarian and her twin sister is this beauty queen model that does pageants all the time, and then one time she's going to this major pageant. She has an allergic reaction to something the night before, so then her twin has to take her place and it's about her entering that pageant. So she's kind of thrust into this world of glamour. I don't even know if there's a romantic element to it, but it just sounds like this amazing like comedy and awkward girl thrown into the limelight, so it sounded so much fun and I'm so excited to have this. Like how cute all these covers are. I love all these new romance covers that aren't just like women draping themselves over men. I like the cute little graphic designy ones happening. So I'm gonna pee myself if I reach in here and Christina Lauren's new book is in here. This is Christina Lauren's new book that's coming out. Oh my god, I can't breathe. I could cry. I'm so happy. So this is actually another book about twins. It's about this woman named Olive whose twin sister is getting married, so she goes to the wedding. The best man of that wedding is like her arch nemesis. At this wedding, everyone ends up getting food poisoning except for these 2 people, this girl and this guy that she hates. So there's a free honeymoon up for grabs because they're too sick to go on the honeymoon and it's non-refundable. So they take that adventure together. So they're in Maui. It's enemies to lovers. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this book. If you don't know, Christina Lauren is like my favorite romance authors. They always just write healthy romance with realistic characters. Even if they're not like my favorite books of all time, they can never do no wrong. So oh my gosh, Gallery Books, I'm gonna send the biggest thank you letter in the entire world because I peed. What else do I have? No, oh my gosh, they sent me everything I wanted. They're too kind. I'll talk about the book that still has to be released. This is for sale in May. It's called Passion on Park Avenue by Lauren Lane. So this is about a woman named Naomi who's from New York City and she goes from rags to riches until she ends up as the CEO of a jewelry company. So it's about her going from the lower class to the upper class trying to fit in, and her new neighbor that she moves next to in this very glamorous neighborhood on the Upper East Side is Oliver, who is a boy that made fun of her when she was little. He was just really terrible to her and they were never friends, and so it's about like rekindling a connection with him and kind of making like enemies to lovers again. Can you tell I have a type? This book sounds so much fun. It looks like it's book 1 in a new series, so that should be a lot of cuteness. And look how just like these covers, look how amazing all these romance covers are. Like who'da thunk? And while we're on the topic of good covers, this final book that I was sent, Look how cute! This book's called Life on the Leash by Victoria Schade. Schade? In German, this is Schade, and it means like, oh, what a pity. So, Schade. So this book's about a woman named Cora who has her own dog training company, and one of her new clients is like the hottest man she's ever seen. His name is Charlie, and so she's really infatuated with him, and she's trying to get her best friend Eli to help out and be like, hey, how do we get together? I think he's beautiful. But then Eli also starts to develop a crush on Charlie, so it's like this camaraderie, but we've got a nice little love triangle going on with friendship and angstiness. And in the meantime, the main character is auditioning to be on a TV show to train dogs, so it's like all this stuff happening in a close amount of time. It sounds so cute, and I'm actually screaming because on the back, the picture of the author, she has dogs with her, so the actual author is a trainer as well. I feel so fortunate to have all of these books. I had no idea they were sending me these because they never replied to my email, but I'm so happy. Thank you, publishers, if you're watching this. I know Valentine's is in February, so it's probably a good time to read all of these for the love month, but I might have to make March my romance month and just fly through all of these, because this month I'm actually focusing on Black History Month. So I have a TBR of books that I have a video about that you can check out separately because I don't want to talk about them all again. But I started one of the books that I mentioned there, and it's called A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. This is a romance that is an own voices Black author and Black main character. The gist of this book is that this woman named Naledi is a graduate student who's kind of struggling with funds. She has 2 jobs and she's working in the lab where people are constantly talking down to her because she's a woman in STEM. And one day she starts receiving these emails from this person that's from the Solo, and they're saying like, hey, you're the betrothed to this African prince, send your social security so we can make sure. She assumes it's spam, obviously, because when does that happen? But it turns out it's actually true. This prince actually finds himself coming to New York City for a business meeting, and then while he's there he realizes that this woman lives there as well, so it's about like him meeting her and she doesn't realize he's a prince. And so far it sounds a little weird, and there are parts of this that I'm just like, why is he renting the apartment across from her so he can monitor her? That's weird. But everything is questioned so far. I really like the dynamic between this prince and his assistant. She's always like keeping him in check anytime he does or says something problematic because he is so privileged. So yeah, I made it 79 pages into the book. I picked it up on audio actually because it's on Scribd. I'm gonna listen to it until it gets to like sexier, steamier scenes. Then I think for my own well-being I'm gonna switch to the actual version so that I'm not just like... But that's what I'm currently reading. But I'm so happy I got all those books. Friends, so exciting development. I showered. So I kind of kept it a secret that I had gone and interviewed for a position 2 weeks ago. I went and interviewed for a position in downtown Dallas, and it was so schmancy, and she said she would get back to me in a week. Week went by, she never talked to me, but today I got an email from her saying that they liked me and they want a second interview, which was so unexpected. I really didn't think I was gonna get a second interview. So she said it could be as soon as tomorrow. I showered, I ironed my outfit. I'm gonna wake up at 9 and see if I'm going in tomorrow or not. Since I have a couple preparation things to do, I figured I would listen to my audiobook as I do that. So I'm currently on chapter 13. What page is that? 136. Making our way downtown, reading fast. That's what I plan to do for the rest of the night, and then I probably won't be tired until 6 a.m. So I really have no super big issues with it. It's just like, I think it's gonna end up being like a 4-star. It was really fun to read. There were funny moments, there were really hot, steamy, nice moments, but there's nothing to really ground it as like an amazing book for me. It's just a nice little story. I can't wait to see where it goes from where we are, so I'm gonna get listening. Oh my gosh, it's 11:11, make a wish. I wish that I get this job. I wish that I get sent a manuscript of Defy Me. One of those is more likely than the other. I'll let you figure it out. Hello! We're currently face masking it, so it might be hard to make facial expressions. But I forgot that I got a book in the mail, and I really want to talk about it because I'm so excited to read this. So like I said yesterday, I've been requesting a couple books from publishers that I'm actually looking forward to. And this one came today, so major shout out to St. Martin's Press and DJ because I got a copy of... This is kind of not doing this book justice because I feel like I look like a swamp toad and this book is so beautiful and so highly anticipated for a lot of people. But this book I'm so excited to have. It is a book that's contemporary about the United States has its first female president, and so some drama goes down between the first son named Alex and then the British prince around the same age named Prince Henry. And so in order to appease the public and look like everything's a-okay, they stage this fake relationship between Prince Henry and first son Alex. So this book talks about how they're enemies, having to go into a fake relationship, and then how they start to learn more about one another and the relationship becomes less fake. It's a romance book. It just sounds so cute. I cannot wait to read this, and it comes out on June 4th, which is my birthday, so blessed book. You know, this face mask kind of hurts my face, but at this point I'm in it to win it, so I'm not gonna take it off. Update. If a face mask burns, you should probably take it off because I am pink. Oh my gosh, the line between my real skin color and my poor face. Wow, okay. We love chemical burns. So, I have an interview. I'm in the elevator. We got 53 floors to go up. We got this. I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me. I just sweated my way through that interview. It was so scary. It was hard. I don't remember a single thing he asked me, so I really don't know how that went. Good freaking morning, everybody. And by morning, I mean actual morning because I woke up at like 8:30 today, so we're doing pretty good. So I don't think I vlogged yesterday. I basically just wanted to update and say, what are the goings on? What is happening? I didn't take off my makeup last night, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. Reading wise, I started a new book because I'm not disliking the romance book I'm reading, but it's the trope where the girl doesn't know the guy's identity, and it's like prolonging the angst of it so that I'm halfway through the book now and he keeps trying to tell her who he is and she's just like, oh, I gotta go off and do something else. And I'm over it. So I am 175 pages in this one, so like halfway through. I'm really just not trying to read a catfish story. So I've been putting that down and taking breaks, and instead I started picking up The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which is another book that was on this month's TBR. I'm like 20 pages into that one, and it's fine. I'm just really not used to reading classics. This book is about a girl, so I'm expecting it to follow the perspective of that girl, but it's not. It's from someone else's perspective about that girl. It's just small things like that that have to click into place that I'm like, oh yeah, okay, y'all do some literary shit with this. I'm not used to that. And then later today I have to go mail some packages. I made some Depop orders and like Valentine's Day present for people. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. And then after that I have to go take my kitten to the vet for the first time, and then the grocery store because I'm hungry. If you wanted a scarf update, here's where we are. Thank you to the kind people who said I'm doing the wrong colors, but I'm sure it's recognizable anyway. I'm so hungry. I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Right now, I'm gonna stay in my heart.
Getting your little legs off.
Someone's first time at the vet. She's doing a good explorer. What are you doing? Hello. You nervous? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Come here, buddy.
I don't know where my camera is, so I'm gonna keep vlogging on my phone, but we're home now. This woman's doing a little nap. I need to clean my room, but I feel like I need to be here for moral support. I started feeling really randomly anxious, so I kind of just want to lay here with my thoughts. Tata dropped a Defy Me snippet for Valentine's Day, but I read the first 2 lines and it was about his dad, and now I'm like, and I heard it was really sad, so I'm like, you know what? with me being really anxious and me not trying to ruin my Valentine's Day mood, I'm not gonna read that. So I need to get up and get moving. But she's so cute. Do y'all see her? I think part of the reason I'm anxious is because it like settled in today, like paying that vet bill. I was like, whoa, I'm responsible for a creature, and I've never had like my own cat or like my own apartment, so I'm kind of just like, we're gonna have a little ASMR moment for this vlog clip because the little girl is still asleep. But I just got the package. This is from HarperCollins. I think this might be, I requested more books. This from Berkeley Romance, so this could be from Berkeley Romance. If not, it could be a Define Me manuscript. Not a manuscript. Hi there! What you just witnessed was me spontaneously deciding that I didn't want to film anymore, so I just turned off the camera. Common occurrence, but I usually don't leave it in. Now that I feel less cranky and in the mood to video, let's talk about these books I got. So the first one that you saw me pull out was this book, which I also just hauled. I had requested a copy of this thinking that it was a finished copy. I probably wasn't gonna get it. They didn't reply to the email, so I just went ahead and got it at Barnes & Noble, and then they supplied me a copy. So this is 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. Sally Thorne is the author of The Hating Game, which is the best adult romance of all time. You need to read it. This is her newest release that just came out in January, I think, and I've no clue what it's about. So that's that. But I also got a copy that I requested of an advanced advanced copy of a book that's coming out in May. This one's called Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors. And this is about a doctor named Trisha whose family comes from Indian royalty. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling with an Indian main character, but I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I really don't understand Pride and Prejudice. I've seen the movie, I've read the book, don't know what's happening. So I think Trisha, the doctor, is the really like prideful character who's like, I'm so successful, I'm from royalty, and then DJ, who's, I guess, whichever one's not prideful. He'd be Darcy, right? I don't... Which one's pride, which one's prejudice? Tag yourself, am I right, ladies? But then the other person, the guy, is a chef, and so he, like, wins her over with his extraordinary food, and, like, it challenges her worldview. I'm kidding. It says his steadiness, humor, and passion draw her in, as well as his food. But, like, for me and my fat ass, we'll be drawn in by that food with no questions. So yeah, it's a Bollywood-style love story set in San Francisco. The woman's from royalty. The guy's a chef. Sounds so cute and gnarly. This is the beginning of a new series, so I requested it. And thank you so much, HarperCollins, for letting me have a sneaky peeky at these. Back to the video. By the way, update. My kitten is still being very cute. But real update. I started this short story collection from Roxane Gay that I talked about in my Black History TBR video, but I started reading this and I just am not loving the writing style. It's very simplistic. So I read like half of the first story, then I skipped to the next one, and it was the same writing style that I didn't really love it. I knew it would be sort of a struggle to get through this if I kept going with it because I really wasn't loving any of the stories that I was starting, so I just decided I'm gonna put it down. I'm not gonna force myself to read it, which is a shame because I love Roxane Gay's essays and her nonfiction, but I just think I prefer a more lyrical writing style for prose, so I'm not gonna force myself to get through it. I have been reading more of A Princess in Theory today, and I'm currently on page 233, so I think like I have a third of the book left. I need to listen to that on audio. I think I'm going to continue with my, you guessed it, my knitting. And my little girl is doing a good snoozle, look. Hi baby. Oh my goodness. You're so sleepy. Hi love. So earlier today, I tried to read more. Where'd my book go? And then I couldn't read anymore because I couldn't find my book. Where did it go? How do you lose a book? You forget to cherish her. So I started this today to pick this back up because I really want to read it. Everyone in reading vlogs is like, I read this book in a day. And I'm like, how? Because I read one sentence and then I get bored, or I get distracted, or I check my phone. So I miss when reading was a thing that you did in one sitting and not in like 30 sittings. I'm not in a good mood ever. I don't ever feel like reading. I'm probably not even gonna want to edit this vlog. It's gonna take me a while to upload. I'm so cranky. I never leave my bed. This is all y'all are gonna see. My little leafy background of my feminist cross stitch, because I just don't leave my room. I don't plan on it. And I just sit here and cry. So I'm actually gonna try and finish this book right now. I'm on page 260. There's like over 100 left. I'm enjoying this more when I read it physically than when I listen to the audiobook, but I might just have to go to the audiobook because reading it physically takes me like 3 times as long because I get so distracted and so bored. But I started watching this new channel, or new to me channel, called Mel to the Any, and when she was vlogging, she put on like aesthetic ASMR rain noises while she read, and I kind of want to try that because I feel like I listen to music and I read sometimes, but I know if I do it right now it's just gonna distract me. So I'm gonna search on YouTube. I was in the middle of watching Heather's vlog, so sorry Heather, I'm not gonna finish this right now. I gave it a thumbs up though. So ASMR rain? Okay, let's just try this. Let's see if that helps at all. Maybe you just saved my life, Melanie. It's that magical time of morning where my cousin has gone to work so I can vlog. Earlier last night I filmed this weird clip where I was silent because my cousin was asleep, but I just finished my book and I was gonna do a voiceover later, but since I'm awake, I'm just gonna abandon that effort and talk about it right here. So around 10, I went and settled down and I was like, I'm gonna finish the last 100 pages of this because I need to stop telling myself that I'm bored with reading, because it's just not true. I just haven't put enough effort into finishing something. So I turned on that ASMR and it worked. I was really focused. I only took like 1 break, which is really unheard of for me. I usually read like 2 pages then take a 2-hour Twitter break. So I would say ASMR helped. And also I think I got to a section of this book, like the last third of it, or like the last half of it, takes place in a new setting and there's this whole new plot going on. And they've kind of turned a new page and they're talking about different stuff. So I was really interested in what was happening, so it kind of kept me going throughout the end of the novel. Whereas in the first half, I wasn't really loving this book. I felt like it was fun and I loved the main character, but I wasn't a fan of like the we're getting all sexy but you don't know my true identity trope. And then I felt like sometimes the main character just spoke like a teenager. For an adult romance, I think it's a little cheesy for her to be like, OMG, and like using such colloquialisms that it just feels juvenile to me and I'm not a fan. But for the most part, I did love the humor in this book. I love that the main character was strong and she stood up for herself. Even though the guy did have that really gross trope, it was confronted and she talked about that and like sort of demanded an apology. I love the personal growth that the main character has in this, going from being someone who was a foster kid and is really not confident to where she ends up at the end. I was really worried about this book at the beginning because I wasn't sure it was going, but I think it ended on a brilliant note, so I'm very eager to read the rest of this series. The companion novel takes place from the perspective of this main character's best friend, but that one's called A Duke in... I don't know. Oh look, it's right there. You can look at it. And then after that, there's a novella that's a female-female romance. And I know there was a lesbian side character in this, so I wonder if it's from her perspective. Not sure. It is. We stan. So I finished the book. Yay! I think I'm gonna give it like a 4.5 stars just because the first half of it I was like, but by the last half I was sold. Okay, and then I continued reading a book that I'd started a little bit ago, which is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I've been reading this a little bit off and on since like midnight, and so I'm on page 83 right now, which is less than halfway. It's about 200 pages long, so. And as you can see, I have begun tabbing all of the parts that I like. This book I anticipate is gonna be receiving 5 stars. I'm loving this so far. This is about this young girl, or I guess it kind of follows this group of 3 young girls that all are pretty contemptuous about white people, and so they harbor a lot of anger toward, well, why are they deemed better than us even though we are like smarter and better than them? The only standard they're held to that makes them better than us is appearance, especially with our main character who is obsessed with having blue eyes, and she wants blue eyes so bad because she thinks that that's going to be the ticket into being accepted. And this story is about very young girls in the 1940s. It's pretty heartbreaking, but the commentary in this is so brilliant and beautiful, and every other line I'm underlining things and tabbing things because there's just such beautiful imagery. I actually marked a quote that I wanted to read out loud because it was just something that I was like, whoa. So she's at this part where she's at a store. She walks up to the counter to get the man's attention, and instead of just saying like he looked up at her, the author wrote, he urges his eyes out of his thoughts to encounter her. It's almost poetic in the way that each word is tasked with its own purpose in the sentence. Like, you could break down that sentence and talk about like the symbolism of just like being noticed. It's so few words to convey so much, and that's what every sentence is like in this book, and it's not hard to read at all. It just makes it so that you're getting so much all at once, even though it's going by really quickly. I'm loving it. So there's your middle of the night update at 4:20. I don't know why my eyes are so itchy. Could it be because I cried for 2 hours today? The world will never know. But I do actually really need to go to bed because sleep schedules be like. I'm really super duper enjoying this book though, and I said I'd get to page 100 before I go to sleep, so I think I'm gonna stick with it until I get like horrendously tired, and then we'll see. Hello children, new day, new me. You know, I've been watching other people's reading vlogs and I'm like, wow, I should put in more of an effort and like set up a nice little bookshelf setup, put on some lights, put on some makeup, and then I just end up doing this. But today I have been just relaxing, not really minding the reading, but I finally just realized, you know what, I'm bored switching between 7 tabs on the internet, so I'm gonna put on my Rain ASMR because that literally changed my life, and finish the last half of The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I don't know if I vlogged before I went to bed, but I got to page 132, which according to Goodreads is like 61% of the way through. I could definitely read the last stretch of this in one sitting, possibly like within a couple hours. I'm gonna find my ASMR. Where'd my headphones go? I'm gonna put these in my face and then finish a book. I'm 3 books behind schedule on my Goodreads challenge because I always do 100 books a year, and usually whenever I go back to school in January, like I read a lot at school because I'm on a schedule, and I'll like get home from class and read, or I'll read between classes. But now that I have no schedule, I'm like, how about I sit in bed and not do anything? Good morning. Last night when I was in the middle of reading, I was like, I want to make a book journal because I don't really do monthly wrap-ups anymore, but I just saw other people have been doing this idea of like writing down all the notes you take about a book and like your rating and stuff. So as I read now, I like have this little journal. I just put a bunch of stuff that I can remember whenever I'm reviewing it. So I'll put the book title, the author, and the names of the main characters because I have one brain cell and I always forget. And then my pros and cons that I enjoyed and didn't like about the book. Then at the bottom I do the trigger warnings as I read, so I can just remind myself to put those in my Goodreads review. So I started with The Princess in Theory, so I have that one, and then last night I finished The Bluest Eye, so I have that one. I'll talk about that in a sec. And then I started one for the next book I started reading. So I finished The Bluest Eye. You can see I have a ton of sticky notes in here because I loved this book. This is the first thing I've read by Toni Morrison, but I highly anticipate picking up more by her because wow. The way that she writes descriptions, I think I've mentioned this previously, but just such genius imaginative commentary on racism, and I was kind of expecting this book would just be like this story about this girl, and it is, but it's sort of like a satellite around her. We'll show you what her life is like and what her struggles are and what her inner monologue is. But then you take that perspective and you grow it so that you see the people in her town. You see her parents and where they came from, and sort of how her own self-loathing, how that was fostered and how that was sort of inherited. I loved this book. I give it a full 5 stars. I just think it was written beautifully. It had such great commentary. It was that perfect space where it wasn't too subtle so that I didn't understand it, but it also wasn't really preachy and obvious. It was just so well done. This was great. Next, I had the choice between starting either Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie or This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jerkins, and you can tell from the tabs and the bookmark, this is the one I ultimately ended up choosing because I finished The Bluest Eye at like midnight and I was like, you know what, I'll just read a chapter of this before I go to bed, she said, and then read half the book. So this is a book of essays written by a black woman that talks about the intersections of feminism and what it's like to live as a black woman and sort of the areas that are neglected with white feminism. I thought this was just gonna be super political, very non-fiction-y, telling you what the issues are type deal, but it's actually quite anecdotal and it talks about her life a lot, and then it goes from these stories that she tells into what her point is and what the broader themes are. So far, I'm really liking this. I've never read a book that's specifically about black women because whenever I read books that are by black women, it's sort of like, here's all of feminism, but also a little bit about us. But this is from the angle that it's like, all feminism is important, but we deserve our own little recognition for what issues we have to go through that don't pertain to white feminists. This is a quote from the first chapter of this book toward the end that says, "Our blackness doesn't distance us from other women, however it does distinguish us, and this requires further understanding." And I would say that's a really good summary of what this book is trying to do, is just showing you what distinguishes their struggles from white women, and then talking about her experiences growing up, her experiences having to learn the ways that she is influenced by a white governed society and how that affects her. And each essay in this sort of has a different topic. So like the first essay was all about how she was in high school and one of her classmates was black and she got bullied by her, so it was a lot of acceptance within the black community. The second essay is told in a list format, and it's like how to be a docile black woman. So it talks about how black women are trained to adhere to what white people think is comfortable. The third essay in this is about hair and how like body image is also tailored for the white perspective and doing what's acceptable for white people to feel comfortable around. The fourth one that I just finished last night, I mean I finished all of these last night, but the fourth one, which is the final one I completed before I went to bed, was about the male gaze and sex and men and dating when you're black and all the concerns that go in there. And honestly, I related so hard to that section because obviously I'm not black, so I didn't have the exact same experience, but she talks so much about the apprehension and the fear of men, and I totally clicked with it. So again, just because this book comes at it from such a personal story angle, I think it really is able to grab you no matter what race you are. Loving this so far. I'm gonna try and sit down and finish the last half of this, and then as soon as I finish this, I'm gonna read Americana, and then I'll be done with my TBR for this month. Other than Becoming by Michelle Obama, which I'm still waiting for from the library. I'm number 9 in line, and I've been in line for like 3 months. But last night before bed, I started an audiobook for some reason, even though it's not Black History Month geared. I hauled this book at the beginning of the month. It's called The Accidental Beauty Queen. This was in like the general area of Scribd, so you can read it without losing a credit. So I started this on audiobook. It's gonna just be super lighthearted and fun, so I don't anticipate I'll finish it this vlog. I think I described the plot of this earlier, so I'm not going to do it again. I am, however, going to settle down and finish this book because I'm very much enjoying it. Okay, hi! I'm starting to get self-conscious about the amount of clips I filmed in this sitting location, but it's been several hours since I last videoed and I finished my book. So I'm pretty sure I stated most of my thoughts pretty early on. I think it was a solid collection of essays that kept me really engaged. I read it in 2 sittings. This book made some really hard-hitting points within each of the essays, but one thing that I started noticing as I kept reading was that the essays sort of would meander as they go along, because it would start off with this one point and then you move on to something, then you move on to something, and then it would start switching back and forth. And I guess I would have preferred the writing more linear, or maybe broken up into separate essays if she was going to go off on tangents, because some of the essays felt disjointed, even though they really offered some great points, and at the end I could see where they aligned. But still, I think the biggest essay in this is like 60 pages long, and I think that's the one that I stopped in the middle of when I went to bed last night because I was getting really tired of reading it. So I think I would have liked more chopping it into succinct sections that went together better. But other than that, I really had no issues with it. I think this book makes a lot of good discussion about things that white women should recognize. So it had a lot of communication between black women and white women, but also I think a good exchange of information between black women with each other, which obviously for me isn't usable information, but I do think that it's valuable just recognizing what black women go through. Since I'm here, being able to recommend it as a really good resource for other black women to read. But I quite enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna end up giving it 4.5 stars because I really enjoyed a lot of the quotes, but again, sometimes the essays, I was counting how many pages I had left. So yeah, I'm done with this one. I mentioned previously I started an audiobook for this. I started listening to the audio again tonight as I was getting ready after my shower, and it is so cute. Something I didn't know about this when I first started it. The characters are from Dallas, Texas. The woman competing in the pageant is Miss Texas. The pageant is in Florida. And so the main character of this book, whose twin is competing in the pageant, she had extra room in her hotel, and so her twin is staying with her at the pageant because she was going to Harry Potter World. And she's a elementary school librarian. She's going to Harry Potter World. They're from Texas. I'm so into this book. In the synopsis, this doesn't really mention a love interest, but there's a scene where she's going outside to walk her twin sister's dog, and on the staircase she meets a guy who has a French bulldog as well, and he like makes a Harry Potter joke because she's wearing a Harry Potter shirt, and it was so cute. I literally turned off the audiobook to read this physically just so that I could like soak in every detail. I'm trying not to focus my efforts on this until I finish Americana, which is the last book that I have on this TBR, which is actually a pretty thick book, so I might be doing interspersions of this to be able to wade my way through what's probably going to be a pretty grueling and intense book like this. But I don't know if I'm going to finish this book in this vlog. I just wanted to mention up front that it is so cute. The only complaint I have about this so far is that the main character is very judgmental about like wearing makeup and girls who are obsessed with pageants and like femininity. I'm keeping an eye on like making sure that there's not too much women on women hate, but that's my only concern so far, is that she's so over the moon about like, I love Harry Potter, I love reading, I'm a librarian, I'm so quirky, that whenever she's confronted with beautiful women, she's like, ugh, women who wear makeup. I'm just like, ¿por qué no los dos? But yeah, I'm only literally like 30 pages into this before I was like, no, I have to finish the book I'm reading and I can't start a new one. And that, my friends, is that. I told myself I was going to start doing weekly reading vlogs instead of what I've been doing, which is I read a certain amount of books, and then by the time that I get enough footage, I just keep rolling until I finish the book I was currently reading, and then I upload it, which could make it so that my videos are few and far in between. So instead, I'm just going to switch to a weekly reading format where no matter if I just read half a book a week, I'm going to upload it. So hope you enjoyed hearing my ramblings. This week has been so productive. Usually I just lay in bed, I don't feel like reading, and I've actually been dedicating myself to getting stuff done, so hallelujah. I actually filmed a clip of me singing in honor of my Vlogmas videos where I ended every video off with a singing clip. Let's do that this time. Sunday night, I'm lying on your body with my legs locked around you like the safest kind of sorry I could give. 'Cause I know I let you down before. Dimmed light coming in from the hallway. You're in your black jeans, I'm in white lingerie, and it's 3 a.m. I'm lying awake thinking that when I'm sad my eyes run like streams, but yours stay dry as you clench your teeth. And that's how I know that you're the one for me. 'Cause I think about you on the train. Love how you say my second name. It seems without you I'm insane. Now you're asleep, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I love you. I love